Today I want to share my thoughts on how we recruit power with the driver. Now, in my most recent video, I talked about how we release the golf club with driver. But today, how we use the wrist set, the levers, the arms and the golf club in this downswing to recruit some power that's going to maximize your distance and hit that ball a little bit further. So nestle in with a nice cup of tea, some cookies, and I'm going to share my thoughts. The driver, because it's the longest golf club in the bag, is the only golf club that really provides the best opportunity to isolate these sensations that you're going to feel as you're swinging in the golf ball. I was having a fantastic chat with Michael, an online client from Skillist, about why he's never been able to shallow himself in the downswing. Now, a shallowing downswing is when a golf club shaft is closer to horizontal than vertical. When we create a club shaft that's more shallow in the downswing, it gives us the opportunity to create more of a ball flight that's going to bend right to left. A face to path value that's 6.3. The more vertical we have this club shaft in our downswing, the more likely we are to either pull it, but most of the time cut the golf ball away to the right. Now, of course, when you're using driver, you're at full tilt. You're trying to hit the ball hard, and if you're not trying to hit the ball hard with driver, you're really missing a beat because you don't see the golfers on the TV trying to cozy one down there. When we've got a long lever, the longest golf club in the bag, it really makes it tricky to balance up how this shaft is going to be shallow and then unloaded back to straight. And the chat I had with Michael was on the work that we've been doing was how to deal with a shallow shaft into strike. And that, for so many, is a difficult ingredient. He's been working on a drill to get himself adapting his impact condition, which has changed how long his arms are and how his leg action is working, and you can see that on the screen there. So when we think about this lever and what goes on at the top of the backswing, so I'm just going to lift my arm up in front of me here. We all know that we have some forearm rotation. That forearm rotation is causing this club shaft to be at an angle to my left arm, to my lead arm. At the top of the backswing, if I pull my hand down towards the ground as a bias, so if your bias is that you're pulling the club to the ground in an effort to shallow out the shaft, pulling the club to the ground in an effort to shallow the shaft. Can you see how I've turned and faced you? What's going to tend to want to happen, because the grip is light, the shaft is going to want to stand up. Because if you can move the handle quickly, look how the shaft will try to stand up. Now, I've gone on at great lengths about how I believe the handle should move forwards. I've created this video, I've created this video, and I've created this one down here if you want to get a little bit of a deeper dive into those thoughts. So if we're thinking, therefore, that at the top, I'm looking to pull the grip in a direction that's going to encourage the shaft to lay down, we've now got ourselves in a situation that down at strike, if the shaft is arriving shallow, the shaft is laid down, the lead arm is feeling some internal rotation. and the trail arm is feeling some external rotation, if we continue to feel the motion of these forearms through strike after shallowing the club at the top, we would progressively be more and more and more shallow. We would progressively be more and more and more shallow. So if you started your downswing shallow and then you progressively encouraged it to be more shallow, can you see where that ball would head itself off to? So for a lot of golfers, their consistent desire to shallow the golf club out into impact and through strike, unfortunately, is consistently making, in the downswing, their club progressively more underneath the grip. Underneath the grip, in an effort to rescue a steepening downswing through strike. Once you set that tide, that direction of how you're trying to move the club through strike in an effort to be more shallow, the day that you actually get one a bit shallow, you'll hit the golf ball off the charts to the right, and you might hit a massive duck hook. So what the golfer needs to feel to start with is how he can deal, or her can deal with, a shaft that's shallow when left arm is parallel to the floor. Because when you have a club shaft that's shallow with left arm parallel to the floor, to get that club back online, I can't continue to make my forearms left arm internal, right arm external through strike, because you're not going to line the face back up. It will keep the club head back and it will keep driving the handle forwards. So what you need to feel is when you lay the left arm parallel to the floor, and this is what we did with Michael in an effort to really change his impact condition, get the shaft parallel to the floor and start to feel how the forearms now work the head over, which is the absolute antichrist of anyone that believes they need to get inside out. So now the club head is going to start to feel steeper. Now when you're pulling on the golf club, as we pull on the golf club, if I'm pulling on the golf club down, you can see that the club is always trying to steepen itself up, and then you're trying to shallow it out. So if you take the golf club up in front of you, lay the shaft down 45 degrees or more, and start to pull the club forwards, you'll feel how much internal rotation you'll get with your lead arm. Now do the same with your right hand. Remember, this is the top of the backswing. I'm just turning and facing you. Now pull the handle forwards in this motion. Feel how the arm kicks in, how the elbow reacts. And so now, if someone was to say to you, continue on that track, there's no way you'd hit it straight. So what you need to sense is how you can move the handle and then bring the head back to straight. Because back to straight is impact. So we get the shaft at 45 or more up in front of us. We move the handle to the side, and then we feel the club head line back up. And so when you're thinking about how you recruit power in a golf swing, it's how you are able to move the handle to the side, across your chest, how the arc will now narrow and you can see that, as I move it across my chest, look at how the club head is kicking back towards my shoulder. How it's kicking back towards my shoulder. I now rotate. There I am in delivery. Now, as I move it around, I need to line it back up, line it back up, line it back up. That motion there that looks so beautiful from down the line, let's line that up with a golf ball. So there we are, there's the 45. There's my turn. I move the handle to the left and I line it back up. I'm just doing this with my trail arm because it's the trail arm that sits at the bottom of the golf club that's going to give you the opportunity to pivot the shaft against the lead arm. Move it to the side, line the shaft back up. Move it to the side, line the shaft back up. Look at how that club, as I'm moving the club, the handle staying in the center of my chest. Look how I'm moving it in harmony with my chest. Look how the club head is kicking back at me. There's your lag. Look how the shaft is laying down. Now, if I continue to keep going on that track, absolute garbage. Tucking the elbow, lifting the handle up, bowing your wrist. Garbage! Garbage! Stop it, people. Doing my head in. Handle to the side, and then line the face back up. Handle to the side, line the face back up. Handle to the side, line the face back up. So this feeling of how this right arm has internal rotation, this left arm that I talked about in release has external rotation, allows you to now feel, look at how I'm loading that, shaft at 45, pulling it, and I'm lining it back up. Pulling it and lining it back up. Look at the force that I'm having to put on the golf club as a lever because of how long it is. When it gets longer, the gap between the head and the handle has a huge influence on my levers, on my shoulders, on my hips, on my foot action. So once we've done that, handle and chest are moving together. Handle and chest are moving together. Look how it's loading the shaft. And then I'm trying to line it back up. And then I'm trying to line it back up. So as I'm making these swings here, that movement there is that movement there. Now, I've got to get that line back up. Don't tuck even more under, people. You're going to be in a right mess. Can you now see how that handle needs to stall out and unload itself? So as we start to load the club, there's that load, there's that load, there's that load, and then we need to line it back up down at the bottom. So we need to use those levers in a way that's going to allow us to feel the load, which comes in direction pull with the handle, which also narrows up the arc. But the big change here is how you use the lever to line the face back up. This here is the swing moment. There's the swing moment, which is very, very different to tucking the elbow in. So the lead arm, trying to do that with the lead arm. Look at how pulling the handle forwards and then lining it back up, how hard that is, which is why the trail arm has a role in this as well. So I get that golf club loading. The lead arm is pushing the handle down and feeling some external rotation. The trail arm is now feeling the majority of the internal rotation, which is making the club head come outside and what feels like over the top, which is such a different sensation to someone that's feeling like the club is tucking in and under. So as you keep tucking in, out with the handle, down through strike, if you, as I say, if you even get a whiff of the club shaft being shallow at the top, you're going to be in real strife. So sensing the handle moving forwards, the hip opening up, and lining the face up. Look how my pelvis is opening, I'm moving the handle. This motion that I'm feeling here is what I'm feeling at the top. Look how the lever is narrowing and working towards me. And now I'm feeling the club head line back up. I bring it up at this height because it makes so much more sense to us. As soon as we put some angles in and it's moving around the body, you know, depending on your back swing, you could have your arms tracking back across you, short in turn, which is because of your leg actions not working well. There's so many facets to this. I've just isolated how your levers need to work, but the conduit to allowing your levers to work properly is your leg action. Making your levers work properly and your leg action work properly, key to that is making sure you've got a good grip. Then the ball position is important. So there is so many layers to it. So if you're struggling one area of the game, this could be the answers. But unfortunately, it still comes down to your assessment of your own game. And that's why I offer up remote coaching, to give you an opportunity to send me your swings. I can analyze it for you, and then you go away and work on it using my content. So there's that feeling of that pull and that load and the narrowing of the arc. There's the radius. And then there's my right forearm that's turning the club out as opposed to turning it in. So let's go up to the top. There's the pull. There's the turnout. There's the turnout, which makes it feel like that would be outside into you. Whereas clearly you can see it couldn't be less outside in, but inside out, 0.8, good angle of attack and a decent face to path. Bit of a longer video today. Hopefully that gave you some insights into how you need to recruit this power using the leverage. It's the same for all golf clubs. It just gets a little bit amplified with a driver because the lever is longer and you're trying to create more speed, and you'll always lean on your bias that is ultimately dictated by the bend you're seeing in the sky. That's when it all starts to go wrong. So if you don't fix your grip, you can't fix your face to path. If you can't fix your face to path, you can't change the way you move. And if you can't change the way you move because you're stranded by the bend in the sky that you're seeing, oh, goodness me, it's a merry-go-round of chasing one's tail. Thank you so much for watching. If you're tired of paying too much for your premium leather golf gloves, head over to gxgolfgloves.com. These are gloves trusted by tour players and elite amateurs alike. Use my code GOODCOACHING to receive 10% off your next order. Go try them out. You won't be disappointed. If you've enjoyed this, do consider subscribing while you're here. And that, my friends, you've guessed it, is good coaching.